right here. Rolling, rolling, rolling. What you gonna do? Rolling, rolling. What you gonna do?
Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday morning and we've got transfer news coming your way. Yes, we are waiting. We're waiting for Man United and Ineos to make a move and go and sign somebody because we're fast approaching the deadline day. I think it's Monday. And if we do not bring in a new signing, we might be letting go of the chance to go and win the title. I'm serious. I'm not even having a laugh here, guys. I really believe that Man United this season have got a chance to go and compete for the title. Who would have thought that? A few months ago, we were talking about United struggling, not winning against Everton and Wolves. But now, under Carrick, we've got dreams, we've got hopes, we've got aspirations, and we want to kick on. And without making signings, you can't really do that. Look, and I know some fans are saying, look, we don't want to know, we don't need to go and panic buy anybody right now. It's January transfer window. Let's save our money till the summer. First of all, it's not your bloody money. It's not your money. So stop making it out to be that it's your money and you're making a saving. You're not making a saving. Let's put pressure on the owners who've done jack shit for this club. Do not let Ineos get away with this once again. This is exactly what fans do, what Man United fans do. We win a couple of games and immediately we let the owners off the hook. We start hearing noises about, oh, it doesn't matter. Let's not do the protest at the game at Old Trafford on Sunday. Allow it. Leave it. Ineos to what they're doing. They're not doing that much of a bad job. Bullshit. They're absolutely driving us in the ground. They're not doing what is expected of owners. They're not going out there and signing players that we need. We are still in need of players. I just do not get how fans can sit there and say, actually, we don't need anybody. We can hold on till the summer. Why? Why? Why, when we've got a chance right now, number one, to secure Champions League football? It's not secured. It's not secured. We still need to do a lot of hard work. Teams will come back. City, Liverpool, Everton, well, not Everton, Spurs. These kind of teams will start winning. These kind of teams will get their shit together. So we need to be ready for that onslaught, and we cannot let go of this massive, massive opportunity. That's my problem. Now, look. Let's compare. Let's take a step back. Let's compare what we do. What happens when you buy in a player that you think we kind of need, we don't need, but then you buy him, you bring him into the team, and you realise, wow, what a difference they've made. Perfect example is Senny Lemons, young goalkeeper. Many didn't give him the credit that he was due. Many people were like, oh, Senny Lemons, so what? We could have gone with Martinez. We might have still held on with Onana. I doubt there's many people actually saying that we should have held on to Onana, but we still could have not made that decision and said, we're sticking with Onana, we're sticking with a goalkeeper we spent shitloads of money on, and let's not buy Senny Lemons. But that now seems like a complete ludicrous statement to make, doesn't it? Senny Lemons has kept us in big, big games. He's been the difference from winning, losing and drawing. That's the difference these players make. And that's why we're urging Man United to go out there and sign a new player. Now, there's some news coming out. It's been coming out a couple of days ago. It came out a couple of days ago, and then it went cold. Then it went a little bit like, okay, maybe, maybe not. But now we're hearing that Man United have been in talks behind the scenes with a new young superstar striker. Big striker, very well regarded out in League One. He plays out there for Rennes. Look, this kid is a sensation. He's very, very good. He's very, very highly rated. Kadir Mete is his name. You might have heard of him. You might not have. There's PSG and other big clubs all around the world, all across the world. Even Al Hilal, or I think one of the Saudi clubs, is interested in him as well. This kid is making waves. He is someone that everyone is after or looking at very closely. He's not the kind of attacker that you probably associate with United. He's not someone who's right now. He's not someone who's on top of his game in terms of finishing. He's not played a lot of games. He's someone that can come in and start for United. Not really. Unfortunately not, guys. I don't want to burst everyone's bubble because I know some of you might be saying Metic coming in, he's going to be insane. We're going to start him. He's 18 years old, still learning his trade. He is someone who is for the future. Again, something that Ineos are really keen on doing at United, bringing in young players that they can develop. And look, I'm not against that. I do like that, but we do need players to be coming in who can start for us immediately. I think that's really important right now. We have players coming in that can actually fit into the squad and help us out, help us get that Champions League spot. And if not, like I said, we need to be ready in the wings just as a matter of luck, if Arsenal and Man City fumble it. Have United ever clawed back this kind of deficit, a 12-point deficit? Yes, we have, many times. United, in fact, I think have done it four times out of the 6-7 times it's been done. United have done it 4 times. They've done it a 10-point gap, 10 point, 11 and 12. So it is doable. It is achievable. In fact, I think the largest one was Arsenal, who clawed back a 14-point lead at this stage. So it can be done. Teams can fumble. Right at the last hurdle, they can fumble. And when you're looking at it and you're looking at Arsenal, who are in the lead, in the top of the Premier League, you know they are bottle jobs. They've got a history of panicking when it comes to closing out the final phases of the season. And when it comes to that nerve-wracking time when you need to win big games, when everyone is fighting for survival, whether you're playing a team that's near the bottom of the table trying to get out the relegation zone, every game turns into a huge game. And that's when we know Arsenal struggle to close out the championship. You've got to be there and have done it before. You've got to have the experience of doing it before. Then you've got something to lean back on. These players, Arsenal players, are not that team. They're not that team. I've been saying it for such a long time throughout this whole season that they've not been playing attractive football. They're playing rubbish football and they've got lucky. They're lucky that nobody else around them is consistent or has been playing good football. If there was only 1 or 2 teams that actually started playing decent football, they would have taken over Arsenal. It's just they've got lucky with last-minute goals, and lots of the media and everyone's been saying, oh my God, this is the championship team. This is what champions do. Bullshit. They play shit football. They get lucky goals from corners, and that's all they do. All they do is get goals from corners and set pieces. That is disgusting to watch. And you don't have to be a Man United fan. You just have to be a fan of football and you will be disgusted at watching that. It just does not bode well for the Premier League, watching a team like that play. You want to see attractive football. You want to see goals from all over the place, not from bloody corners, not fumbling it in like they did. Look, against United, they were shit. They were shit. They had an awful game, got an own goal to begin with, and then, of course, they got that corner kick, and again, it was fumbled over. It wasn't an attractive goal. I don't know how Arsenal fans can sit there and talk it up and talk up their team, and then they've got Henry and Ian Wright sat there watching this, and they must be thinking, shit, this is awful football. Arteta is just awful to watch as a manager as well. The way he sets up his team is just so negative. Anyway, parking that aside, United, yes, we are in talks with this young striker. He's a young but quite a big striker, 6 foot plus, I believe he is. Has he scored loads of goals? No. Is he someone for the future? Yes. Is he someone who can come in right now and start games for us? Maybe, maybe not. Is he someone who you could say will directly fit in for Dogu? No. The unfortunate news is that Dogu is injured, is out with a hamstring injury for at least 10 weeks. 10 bloody weeks. Not good, man. Not good. We needed all our players fit and ready for this phase of the season. Unfortunately, Dogu, who was flying under Carrick in that left wing position, he's picked up the injury and he's out. But then we've got Kuna who could step in. Do a job for us. We're fortunate that we've got Kuna right there waiting in the wings, and he has actually done wonders as well. When he's come on, he's looked like a top substitution. Whether he can start the game and continue in that vein, I'm not quite sure. I hope he does. I hope he can still perform for us when he's starting the game. I feel like sometimes he goes missing in games throughout the whole 90 minutes, but look, we're going to have to just work with it, right? 10 weeks, he can do it. He can deputise there. And it's crazy, isn't it, to think that he's going to deputise for Dogu. Now, Dogu, that's how good and impressive Dogu's been. And he just gives United something different. But then again, look, Carrick's got other options. He doesn't have to go out there and buy a winger. He could promote Lacey. We saw the game against Burnley, I think it was, when Lacey came on and he was sensational. So we've got young academy players that can step up as well. We've got players in the academy that Carrick's fully aware of that can jump up and make that transition into the first team and start playing for us. Not, I guess, all games, but they can come on as substitutes late on in games and maybe give us that wild factor that we need. But that is really, really important for us. We need to go out there and have other options. For me, look, my priority has always been to go out there and get a midfielder. Yes, we've got issues with Dogu obviously being out for 10 weeks, but we've got replacements for Dogu. What we haven't got replacements for is someone like a Casemiro or now Kobe Mainoo, because who else do we have in that midfield? We're left with Ugarte. Yes, that's a massive issue for me. So if we go into these games and we get an injury, we pick up an injury in the midfield with Kobe Mainoo, who's not played a lot of games, so we've got to be careful with using him consistently. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's fit. Yes, he can play games. But what if he picks up an injury? What if Casemiro gets red carded and he's suspended for a couple of games? In crucial games, which we need to win to keep up the pressure on the top two. What happens then? That's why I really, really would have liked to see United go out there and bring in a loan move for someone like Gomez from Wolves. Unfortunately, I don't feel like that's going to happen. Wolves, if they're going to get rid of Gomez, they want a full sale. They don't want to make it a loan move. And that's why I was saying, look, Ruben Neves, just go and bloody get him. 15 mil, go and spend that 15 mil. It's nothing compared to what we can achieve if we carry on playing consistent football and maybe, just maybe, the teams above us flap it. I'm going to go to the chat now and see what you guys make of this news on the transfer market. Will United make a last-minute signing or not? Let me know in the chat what you think. If you were guessing, if you were going to bet on United making a signing in this January transfer window, would it be yes, they will be making a signing, or no, they won't? And if it is a signing, which one do you think it's most likely? Do you think it's someone like this Kadir Meta, or do you think it's someone like a midfielder, maybe even a Gomez, maybe even a Neves? Which signing would you take right now and be happy with before the transfer window closes? It is going to be closing on Monday. It's going to be... I'm still waiting for something to happen. I still believe United, behind the scenes, are working on deals. I feel like they know it's crucial right now to go and maybe get one or two players, even if it's loan players, to give Carrick some options, because it'll be horrendous. It'll be the worst case scenario if we lose a couple more players and we regret not going out in the January transfer window when we had the opportunity to bring in some reinforcements. Yes, we've got young players, but look, sometimes you can't rely on the young players when it comes to crucial matches. You need experience. You need players who know what to do, who've been round the block and can do a job for United. Anyway, let's head off to the chats because we've got a few people making their voices heard as to what they think should be going on at United. Drop your comments, by the way, everyone who's watching. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you subscribe as well. Niche says, we have to bring a player into cover Dogu. Just get any available with strength and energy, which can get up and down. Kuna doesn't work on the left. I agree with you. Nish, because I said it yesterday when we had the injury to Dogu, and I immediately said, look, this is a huge problem. Yes, we've got Kuna, who is, for some, a ready-made replacement, but for me, I don't feel Kuna does that job well enough. He doesn't give us the pace down that wing, whereas Dogu is defensively capable as well. We know he started off in the left back, left wing position, so we know he can cover that side of the pitch and make Luke Shaw's life a lot easier. And not only can he do that, he can also bomb it down on a break. When we have to counter, he can pick up the ball and get down the side of that pitch. Kuna's not that guy. He's not someone who'll pick up the ball and run with it and outpace the defenders. And defensively, he's not as capable as Dogu, although he's pretty good compared to the rest of our attacking plays. He's very good at holding the ball. He's got a very good composure. But what Kuna lacks is that acceleration, that burst of pace. And yes, I would agree. If I could, I would go out there and possibly get someone down that wing. I just feel like they weren't prepared for this, and I don't feel like United are going to go out there and make a direct replacement or get a direct replacement for Dogu. They're going to look at it and say, right, it's 10 weeks. We're just going to put Kuna in there, and hopefully he can deputise for the 10 weeks, whatever games we've got, he can do it. We've got to remember, though, we haven't got much games left in the Premier League. It might sound like we've got loads of time, but we haven't. We're only involved in the Premier League. That's why, for us, this seems like, we've got plenty of time. We haven't got plenty of games to play. The other clubs are involved in other competitions, the FA Cups, the Carabao Cup, the Champions League. Tonight is the Champions League games as well. So they're busy with their schedules. We have got one game a week, if that. So we need to maybe look at that in a lot more detail. I think that's why Ineos are saying, well, it doesn't matter. We don't need to go and bring more players in because we're only playing one game a week. We can rotate the players that we've got. That's what they are. That's what they're planning or they want to do. But I think the pressure might be a little bit too much if they don't do anything and we pick up more injuries and our season kind of doesn't turn out the way we're anticipating it right now. Right now, we are in a prime position to take full advantage of what's going to happen to the teams around us. Kuna is better as a sub. He goes missing for 90 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Good point. Exactly what I said. Almost like Ravel Morris. He can't concentrate for the full 90 minutes. Yeah, it must be. Do you know what? Talking about Ravel Morris, it must be those type of maverick type players who just kind of produce one thing in or two moments in a game where you think, wow. But do you allow him 90 minutes to do that? Or do you just think, right, okay, bring him on as a sub and let him take advantage in that short time? And I think for me, Kuna's best suited to come off the bench when the players are tired on the opposition side, so he can come in and take advantage of it, and he doesn't look as slow as he is over the full 90 minutes. Yes, he can do things, but sometimes you want to take control of the game before you have Kuna come on and then do his damage. We will have to use Mazraoui as left wing. Do you know what? I didn't even think of Mazraoui, but can he even play left wing? Can he? I mean, unless he plays right wing and we move Ahmad to left wing, that could possibly work. That is something that could actually really do. Actually, that could work. That could work. But whether Mazraoui will do even a good enough job, even on the right wing, I'm not sure. But it can be. Actually, that is a good shout. I can see that working with Mazraoui. He is really good going forward. We are winning because of the defensive work of our wingers. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, our shape is because the wingers drop back into the midfield and they make a really difficult defensive line for the opposition to cross. That's why PSG did so well. They've got Dembele, our defensive beast, and Doué is amazing. They've got players who will do a job for them. They do work hard. They defensively work all as a team. They come back, defend, and they do even the counter. They all work together. Jim, welcome, mate. If we're thinking about buying a forward, I would forget the forward and buy a midfielder and loan a midfielder. Then we're okay. But I think we will not get anything. Do you know what, Jim? You're spot on. You're spot on, because that's what I feel like right now we should be concentrating on. Yes, we've got problems with Dogu going off injured, but our bigger problem is the midfield. But I do get the feeling that Ineos are trying their utmost not to spend any money in this window. But that's not because they don't feel it's imperative to go out there and sign somebody. I just feel like they're just cheapskating everyone out of this. Yeah, they didn't want to sign anybody with Ruben Amorim, and that was one of the reasons why Ruben Amorim had that fallout. Forget all about him not doing well as a manager. That was not the reason why they sacked him, and this is why I'm saying to everybody out there, do not get comfortable with Ineos. Do not think that Ineos are in control. Do not think the Glazers or Ineos made the decision to sack Ruben Amorim because they were not satisfied with United's results and the way United were playing. They were entirely satisfied with what was going on at United. They were happy with what Ruben Amorim was doing. It was the fans who were not happy. They were happy. The only reason why they got rid of Ruben Amorim was because he turned his eyes upon them. He started pointing fingers at Ineos because he was upset that he was told that in the January transfer window, they're not going to make the signings that he wanted. That is why he backed off. That's why he got even more pissed off, because he was let down in the summer transfer window, or at least he thought he was let down in the summer transfer window. He felt like he wanted to bring in a midfielder. They never gave him that midfielder. They went for Blaber. They failed on that, and they never had a backup option, and they let Ruben Amorim enter this season without a proper midfielder. Hence why he was forcing Bruno Fernandes to play there. I think it was out of stubbornness, but also to show Ineos that, look, I'm having to play Bruno Fernandes here. If you had bought me a midfielder, I could have unleashed Bruno Fernandes further up the pitch. I don't know what it is, but I blame Ineos and the Glazers for what we've gone through and what we might be going through in the future, because these guys are completely smoke screening everything that's gone on at the club. And I feel like fans get taken in by it really quickly. Just because Carrick has come in and stabilised things doesn't mean that that's anything to do with Ineos or the Glazers. We heard that they were, some of the people in Ineos or Glazers, they were looking at Solskjaer as the option. There was only one or two people who said Carrick, and it's just happens to have worked out. But that's not because of Ineos knowing this. They did not know what was going to happen. They appointed him as interim manager because they had absolutely no idea who to go and appoint. And even now, the talk of bringing in Tuchel or bringing in Enrique is an absolute load of shit. Absolute load of shit. That's not going to happen. There's some fans out there who really believe that that's going to happen. In fact, we got news last night about Cole Palmer, right? Cole Palmer, everything that was hitting off saying Cole Palmer's going to come. We were hopefully we were going to see some kind of movement there, but it's been quashed by the Chelsea manager. Whether he feels like he can get grips of Cole Palmer and get him starting playing football for Chelsea, I think there is something going on there. I'm not quite sure what, but I feel like, yes, there is an opportunity to buy Cole Palmer, but apparently he will be a lot of money, something that United can't afford. United can't afford to go out there and make a signing for 15-20 million pound right now, because our owners are skint. Our owners haven't got any money, and they are just pulling one on every fan out there. So yes, the 1958 protest before the game on Sunday is good, and we should all support that. I cannot believe that there's some fans coming out saying that, oh, it's the wrong timing and we don't need this distraction right now. What distraction? What are you talking about? The whole reason why Carrick got appointed and why Ruben Amorim got the sack is because there was pressure from the outside. The fans pressuring Ineos, saying this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. Our standards are falling day by day, week by week. We are failing. And this is not acceptable as a club the size of United. It's not acceptable. So that's why they were forced. Well, they were forced to get rid of him because obviously he turned on them. But we know that they were thinking, right, okay, this is, two birds with one stone. We please the fans and we please ourselves and Wilcox or whatever. So yeah, look, that's Ineos are playing a dangerous game that could take us out of Europe completely. Yep, absolutely, man. Ineos are playing with the future of United here. We're at that stage where we can make this concrete. We can make this position ours in the Champions League spots if we go and win a couple of more games. Like I've been saying, United are in a really, really good spot. Do you know why we're in a good spot? Because Man City, Arsenal have got lots of games to play this season. They've still got loads of games to play. They might pick up their own injuries here and there, and they might collapse. We need to be ready. The teams in and around us have got lots of football to play. We haven't. We've only got the Premier League. So we have got players that are resting and can actually come in on the weekends and actually do a job. Put in the kilometres that they need to run. Put in the hard work because they know they've got the rest of the week off. Whereas the teams in and around us, they will struggle because once the going gets tough and you come to the end of the season, players start dropping like flies. They will struggle. And especially with the World Cup round the corner, no one will want to give it their all. No one will want to go in there hard. Of course, you could say the same about United when it comes to the World Cup, but I still feel that United players are best players because they're going to be rested. They're going to have a lot more time on their hands. Perfect opportunity for United to go in and get the job done. That's why I'm not ruling out the Premier League title. I'm not ruling out. I know you might sound crazy to you guys, but I feel like if we can cook, and we're cooking right now. We've beat two of the best teams in the Premier League, first and second. We beat them. We are a team worthy of winning the league. It's just whether we can go on a decent run. If we don't get Champions League or Europa League, our summer plans will go up in flames. Well, look, Jim, I don't even want to... I think anything but the Champions League is a failure. Europa League is a failure. No player will come to us if we're in the Europa League. They don't give a shit about that. They don't care about coming in for the Europa League. We're going to miss out on big signings that we're planning to make in the summer. Do you get where I'm coming from? We're looking at a bridge too far right now. We're talking about making massive signings and saving all our money till the summer. But who's guaranteeing us that we're going to get to the summer unscathed? Do you get what I mean? That's where my problem is. I'm looking at it and thinking, well, what guarantee do we have that come summer we're going to be in the Champions League spots? What guarantee do we have that we're going to do well? So we have to leave that aside. Let's cross the bridge that we're on right now. And right now we're in the January transfer window and we've got opportunities to make signings. Forget about the summer transfer window. I keep saying this to fans. Why are you making up excuses for not signing players right now? Are you insane? What's wrong with you? Have you not seen the difference we can make with making one or two signings? Bringing in someone maybe unknown like Senny Lemons. We brought him in. Look what the difference he's made. Massive difference. And that's the kind of signing I'm saying go and make. I'm not going and saying, look, go out there and make crazy signings, go and bring in Wharton or Baleba or whatever. I'm asking you to just simply go out there and just bring someone in short term, someone who can make up the gap from now till the end of the season, because we might bloody need them. We might need them. And when we need them and they're there, we're going to be saying, oh, thank our lucky stars, we've made that move. It's just belt and braces approach. That's what I'm saying. And I'm sure if you're looking at it from a completely objective point of view, if you're looking at it from, right, okay, yes, it's not my money. It's not our money. It's Man United who need to go out there and secure Champions League. If I gave you the option and said, right, okay, if you need to go and spend 30 mil in the January transfer window and you get Champions League, or you don't spend 30 million and you don't get Champions League end of the season? Which one would you bloody take? It's simple, isn't it? It's a simple answer. I mean, unless you're completely deluded, you'd know what the answer is, right? You'd know that it's worth spending 30 mil and going and get Champions League at the end of the season, because that's worth a lot more. Financially, commercially, it is massive. In fact, you spend 50 million. I would actually argue that you should spend up to 100 million just to qualify for the Champions League, because it's well worth it. That's what I feel like Ineos should be looking at this as. They should be thinking, right, okay, you know what? We're within the Champions League spots now. How do we stay here? How do we compete? How do we ensure that we don't drop anywhere now? Yes, I know they're going to be looking at it and thinking, we haven't got many games to play. And will this squad suffice? Yes, we've got plenty of players, but will we have enough players if one or two of our first team players get injured? We've seen it before. Zertsky isn't good enough to step in there. We've seen Ugarte isn't good enough to step in there. And then as soon as you get rid of them, what you're left with? Mason Mount. Mason Mount, again, isn't someone who you could rely on 100%. We know he's injury prone. So then then you're left with nobody on the bench. That's my problem, guys. That's my problem. That's why I feel like you should do everything in your power right now to go and get the signings. Go and make the signings. Go and get the additional players that you might think, yeah, we might not need them, but at least we've got them there. It's a safety net. That's what I'm saying. We have two billionaires. Of course, they are not skint. This is the difference between not being able to put money in and have no intention of putting money in. Absolutely. Do you know what it is? They never had the intention of coming in and putting money in to this club. All they've really with Jim Ratcliffe is a vanity project, right? It's all about I own Man United. That's all it is. That's all it is. And he's done that in other places as well. It's not just Man United. He's got a track record of doing this, going out there, buying the F1 team. He's got obviously Nice. He's got a few other sporting ventures. And it's all a vanity project. It's all like, yeah, look, I'm a billionaire. I've got all these different ventures in sporting and sports and this and that, and I'm really cool. The Glazers, it's all about money. All the Glazers want to do is make money, take money out of this cash cow, and they've been doing it for many years, and they want to continue. Their end goal is to make money out of this club. It's like the example I've always given is the golden goose. Man United is the golden goose that keeps laying that golden egg, and the Glazers know this. The Glazers know that they're getting this golden egg every so often. And then, in fact, guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to go and make the golden goose lay more eggs. So what they're always exploring ways of making Man United more profitable, not for the club, but for themselves. They want to make money for themselves. That's all it is. They want to be there saying, all right, it's never, ever got to do with, oh, we want to see success on the pitch and we want to enjoy those moments. And whatever it takes, we're going to make sure that happens. No, it's never been that. They've never had that intention. They don't want to do that. All they want to do is simply get the dividends. Get the dividends. Take the dividends. We've known this for a long, long time. It's not all of a sudden, unless you started spotting Man United 2 days ago, you know that the Glazers haven't spent any of their money on this club, and there's no intention of doing so. And that's why it's quite laughable that when you start hearing of the project of rebuilding or building a new Old Trafford, and you start thinking, yeah, it's going to cost £2 to £3 billion. Where are they going to get that money from? Where? I mean, because the Glazers are certainly not going to put that money down, and neither are Ineos. And Ineos, talking about Ineos and talking about them being billionaires, yes, they're billionaires, but financially, Ineos are not doing well. Ineos as a separate entity to Man United, by the way. I'm not talking about Ineos in Man United. I'm talking about Ineos, the petroleum company, is not doing well. The basis, the foundation of Ineos was the petroleum company that was set up by Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That itself is not doing well. Where he made his billions, he's not doing well in that company itself. So What faith should we have in Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe saying, I'm going to spend more money in this football club? Football clubs are not good businesses. Unless you're very lucky, football clubs are, you're lucky to break even, initially anyway. But it's a long-term investment. So you're looking at another 10 years or so where you can say, like the Glazers have done, so they've sat on United, they've taken the money, they've done it absolutely insane, haven't they? They got the debt, bought United for 600 mil, just below 600 mil, and now the valuation of the club is in the billions. So if they were to sell, they would make all that money. So maybe they do. Maybe they do want a cash out and the walk away. Because let's be honest, they're not the youngest of fellas right now, are they? They probably have got, they can make more money taking that money out and putting it into somewhere else than to keep it in United. So I think there is a degree by which they want to sell up and leave. Unfortunately, no one's crazy enough to come and make an offer for 7 billion pounds for a club that's market value is around 3 to 4 billion pounds on the stock exchange. So as businessmen, they're going to look at it and think, well, look, your share price is this much on this given day. It's not worth 7 billion. So why would we pay double what it's worth? But Glazers are crazy enough to say, well, it's going to be worth that much in the future. That's absolute madness, isn't it? It's like you selling your house and saying, it's worth 200 grand right now, but in 10 years' time, it could be worth 500k. So I want you to pay me 500k, thank you very much, and I'll sell you the house today. It's madness, isn't it? But this is what we're dealing with. They're absolute parasites. And do not forget that. The fan base must remember that, because it infuriates me when fans start talking about the club just because we've won 2 games, just because Carrick has come in and done well, that Ineos should be left off the hook. And same thing with the Glazers. No, they should not. They've still not done anything to benefit this club. Carrick, an old legend of the club, has come in to help us out. That's what's happened. But how many times are we going to get this rescue on a rescue mission? I mean, how many times can we rely on Sir Alex Ferguson and his prodigies to take us out of this shit? We need better owners. We need more money. We're talking about signing an 18-year-old kid right now, a single signing in January, possible signing, and we're getting all gassed up about it. Why? Why are we demanding signings? We should be making these signings automatically. As a club the size of United, we should be going out there and making these signings. It's not a matter of, whether we should or whether we shouldn't. We should be going out there and spending money. We saw Man City do it last January. And Pep, this is what they do. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Football is about money these days. If you've got money, you will be successful, because you can throw money at going and getting the players that you need and get success on the pitch. Marta says that's not true. If they were using the club's money, then the government and the supporters union would never allow them to do so. Oh, come on. They've been using the club's money for a long time. They've been doing it for a long time. Where have you been? They've been using the club's money for years. They've never put any money of their own into the club. They've never done that. All they do is they've taken the club, the United's money, whatever United make, they reinvest that money into buying players or doing anything else. Hence why, when it comes to actually making serious investments in the club, like building a new stadium or even fixing the leaking roof of Old Trafford, they've never done it, because it takes serious amount of money beyond what we're actually making as revenue. That's the problem. What United have been doing before Ineos came in was Glazers were taking a cool 40 million pounds in dividends each year. They were walking off with that money into the sunset. So no, look, the Glazers, no one should be protecting the Glazers, and no one should start protecting Ineos either. Yes, look, I give credit where credit is due. I say, look, Ineos, have they made some better changes in the backroom staff? Have they brought in some kind of structure? Yes, they have. They've brought in structure. They've brought in people who can do the job. like Vivell, like Omar Brada. You might not like him, but he's there. He's doing a job. Same thing with Wilcox. We don't like him, but they've brought in a structure that obviously works, obviously is the right structure. But let's be honest, when it comes to actually spending money, they've not done that. Not their own money, not their own personal money. I've not seen any evidence of where the Glazers have put down any of their own personal money into this club. If the Glazers had put money in United, they came in, we wouldn't have dropped, and United would have prospered, and the Glazers would have got more money out of the club. Why have they never thought that? Yep. Absolutely, man. Look, what else, Jim? Do you really think that they they would destroy their cash cow, knowing it would give them cash forever? Truth is, they were let down by people running the club. Look, there's an element of truth to that, without a doubt. They've brought in people because they want to protect the cash cow, but there's also an element where they've thought, right, okay, how do we make more money out of this club, and going down the Super League route and stuff like that. But you can't argue with the fact that they've not actually put any money into the club. My argument is, yes, look, of course they're not going to destroy the club that's giving them all that money, but they've held on and on until the very last moment when they couldn't hold on anymore, and they had to look for outside investment, and hence in came the knight in shining armor in Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Right, that's what happened. Look, I don't want to go into this debate in deep, right? Because all I want to say is, we shouldn't get carried away with the owners. They still are not good for us. They still haven't done what we need to do. We need to make sure that we go out there and invest in this club. And without that, we will struggle. We will struggle. And I'm saying to you guys, which is, come the summer, there's no guarantee that we're in the Champions League. Yes, we want to be getting there, so why not guarantee yourselves to get in the Champions League and then go from there? Mateta, with respect, Matat, with respect, they are only using the club's money. They leverage the club to take out loans and accrue debt. The mere fact that they personally profited via dividends shows they haven't put in. Look, it's a never-ending debate, but I think most fans know what we've had with the ownership hasn't been good enough. If the Glazers were good enough, we would not be in this position right now. We were way ahead of the rest of the pack when they took over. We were way ahead. Commercially, we were far, far more profitable than any other club. And we were top 2, 3 at all times in the Deloitte rich list of football clubs. Just the other day, I did a segment on how we've dropped to 8th. And now the gap between the top 2, 3 and 8th is huge. It's humongous. And it's going to take a long time to actually claw our way back up if we ever do. The reality is that we need owners to come in and clear the debt. Almost £1.5 billion of debt. And you know what? I've got some really bad news for you. If we go and build that stadium, that's going to be another £2 to £3 billion debt on top of that. That's the problem. That's where I'm really fearful that, look, it'll put an end to anyone coming in and wanting to buy United, because I think what puts many owners off is that they're coming in and they're looking at the debt sheet and they're thinking, shit, before I even put any money down, I'm having to clear the debt, which is in the region of 1.5 billion. So that before anything happens, you're paying off the debt accrued by the previous owners. And the worst case scenario is that you're actually paying the owners that have put the club into debt. You're paying them as well. You're paying them a huge amount of money. You're paying them to get out of the club. Do you get what I mean? It just makes no sense. Because you're paying the Glazers, who are saying, oh yes, we've accrued that debt of 1.5 billion on the club, but you're going to have to pay that off, and you're going to pay us off in the region of, 6 billion, way above the market value, and then we'll leave. Then we're happy to leave. But other than that, we're staying put. We're not going to put any money in. We're not going to do anything for the club. We're going to stay here. And I'm not going to lie to you. Jim Ratcliffe has enabled that further. He could have come in and said, actually, screw you. I'm a Man United fan. I'm a Mancunian, born and bred, down the road, and you've shafted this club. You've come in and absolutely screwed this club over. So guess what? On your bike, off you go. I want to buy 100% of the club. Off you go. He never did that. He went and bought a small minority stake, saying that, oh, look, do you know what? I'm going to get my foot in there and then I'll buy the rest of it. He had the exclusivity period where he could have bought United, but that's come and gone. So where's everyone questioning that? What's happened? Why have we stopped the conversation? Why hasn't Ineos bought the remaining shares off the Glazers? That's my issue. The problem I have is that Jim Ratcliffe himself is on record for saying that United were out of money. They were a month away from having no money with the Glazers. So they needed money. And that's why he stepped in. And he thought for some reason the fans are going to turn around and say, oh, thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for coming in and putting that money down and rescuing the club. But the fans didn't see it like that. The fans saw that as rescuing the Glazers. You didn't rescue the club. The club doesn't need rescuing. The club is a huge giant in terms of footballing, the footballing world. It doesn't need rescuing. The fans will keep the club going. We just need the Glazers gone. That's what it is. Let me go to the chat because obviously I just go off on a rant when it comes to the ownership, don't I? Stephanie, welcome. Hope you're doing well. What else? We're completely right. Travis is completely right. Thank you. Look, I'm not 100% saying, look, this is my way or the highway. I agree. Look, there's different viewpoints to this argument. There'll be some people who bring a different viewpoint to it, and I'm welcome that. I'm not saying it's my way and you have to agree with everything I'm saying. They did what they did, but the authorities wanted they would have intervened and stopped them from misusing the club. They were allowed to run badly a more successful British club. Yeah, look, I agree with that. The authorities should have done more. So that's a good comment, because yes, the authorities should have done more. They should have seen this coming. I mean, everybody else saw it coming. Everybody else knew this was a leveraged buyout. This was a hostile takeover. This, it wasn't a secret. They came in and they took it over. And they could have been stopped there. The FA, the government at that time should have said, actually, this is a jewel in the crown of our footballing status as in England, right? United is the jewel in the crown. I don't give a crap what anyone wants to say about Liverpool and the rest of the clubs. United is by far the biggest club, right? And of course, everybody cares. Everybody cares. The Glazers' anchor still remains, sadly, and it was always hold us back until they're completely gone. Absolutely, man. That is exactly how we need to look at it as. We've got to look at it as that this is something that's holding us back, not allowing us to move forward. That's the only issue. It's the same thing as the Thames Water. It was in massive debt, but the shareholders still took dividends whilst they didn't look after the infrastructure. They know the taxpayer will pick up the bill. Niche, would the authorities have allowed if a Russian or Chinese, whoever had done what Glazers and Ratcliffe did to the club? In fact, even the fans would not have accepted it and gone violent. Absolutely. Really, really good point there, Marta. Really, really good point. That is the question you have to ask yourself. Would the authorities, would the fan base, would everybody have stood aside? The reality is that the Glazers and Ineos now have got their fingers in a lot of pies and they hold power in the right places. That's what it is. We mere fans can't do anything but to protest and make our voices heard. But these people control the media. They control the sports channels. They control the journalists who need access to the club. So it's a bit of a trade, isn't it? It's like, oh, you're a sports channel and you're the media outlet that are going to cover this sports match, right? So you need access to us. You need access to the club. We're not going to give you that. We're not going to give you that because you've been highly critical of the club and ownership. So if you're going to be unfavourable, we're not going to give you access. But if you write something good and you promote the club and the owners, then we'll give you access. That's how it is. There's very few journalists out there who carry on, who will point out that there's a protest going on Sunday. They're very few. I stopped watching your Kuna comment. Please watch him play. I unsubscribed after your Kuna comment. Well, look, if you can't take a Man United fan's opinion on a football player, well, then you're more than welcome, mate. You're more than welcome to unsubscribe because clearly you don't know what football is. It's all about debating and talking about who's good and who's not. I have this same debate with my best friends. I have this debate. They might not like someone else. Dallo, for instance, one of my mates, he absolutely dotes on Dallo. He loves Dallo, and I'm like, look, he's shit. He's not good enough. So yeah, that's a debate. If you must not get into football debates if you take things like that personally. That's why I'm saying the FA authorities are corrupt because of power and businessmen think of 115 charges. Exactly. They never brought the book to them. It's shady. Yeah. Exactly. They're not going to take down City because they're like, again, it's one of those things. They've got the contacts in the right places. Thanks for facing all the comments and being brave to answer them. Absolutely. Look, Marta, for me, it's always about having fans have their say. It's a healthy debate. Like I've just said, my best mate loves Dallo. I sit there arguing with him for hours, telling him how shit he is, but then he'll come back to me like he did last against Arsenal. He came back to me and said, look, that's why I love Dallo. Look, he played a really good game for us. And I conceded. I was like, look, hands up. Yeah, look, actually, he's played well under Carrick. And that's what we all discuss. So the Kuna comment, yeah, Kuna is, for me, I don't feel like he's got the pace to play down that left wing. Big wow. Do I think he's a top player? Yes, of course I do. Do I think he's a maverick and he is someone similar to my favourite player, Cantona? Yes, I do. Do I love him? Do I like the fact that we've signed him and he can play a role at United? Absolutely. But I don't have to agree that he's not going to give us the pace down that wing. So, big wow. Do you get it? But yeah, look, it's healthy. FBI got rid of Blatter. We need to do an investigation to remove Glazers. All the ownership needs investigating, to be honest. To be fair, yeah. Look, I think there is something on the horizon. You're saying that, Stephanie. There is something on the horizon where they're going to look in. Apparently, I read it. I don't know whether it's true, but I read that the government are going to look into the way in which Man United were taken over and put in further measures. We do know now that it's illegal to take over a club the way the Glazers did back when they did. So you can't do that anymore. It's not allowed. So again, it's something that, might not have happened. It was just the wrong timing, wrong place, wrong timing. And obviously, there's more to it. When the Glazers took over, of course, there was other problems at United with the majority owners at that time, McManus and so forth, and there's lots of complications with horse racing and things like that. There was things going on in the background that we didn't really know of, and that led to the fallout. And of course, the Glazers took the opportunity to come in and buy up everything. Football is all about money. There's no real regulation. They are all mates at the top. Yeah. I mean, what still sticks with me is that Jim Ratcliffe went and offered to buy Chelsea about 3 months prior to making an offer for United. That is crazy for someone to say, look, no, all I want is... It was always about buying a football club, and it just the opportunity arose that United came on the market, or that someone wanted some investment in Glazers, wanted some investment. And that's what it come down to. That's all it came down to. What's scary is lots of people say that the Glazers did was just a really good business. From a business point of view, you would argue that yes, it was. I think lots of business people who probably don't care about Man United will probably think that. Yes, they would. If I wasn't a Man United fan, I would probably look at it and say, yeah, actually, that's pretty crazy. Because what they've done is they've took out a bank loan, bought a company, essentially a club, but they bought this asset which has given them so much dividends each year. And guess what? At the end of it, they're going to walk away billions and billions of pounds richer. So yeah, it was a great, great investment at the time. But, you know, who cares about that when there's billions of fans around the world who absolutely despise you. There was no social media as well. You actually, really good point there. Really, really good point, Marta, about the no social media. Absolutely. That deserves some claps. That deserves applause there. That deserves applause. Well done. Well done. You know why? Because I believe that wouldn't have happened. The takeover wouldn't have happened if we had social media back in those days, and we could have got more fans in on this and said, right, this is impossible. This should not be allowed. This is wrong. This is a family that don't know about anything about football. And if it doesn't take long to research the Glazers and see that they were in a business of taking and buying distressed companies, then taking them apart and then selling them bit by bit. That was their business model. That's what they were doing in the States. It's no secret that they were doing this. So when they came in to buy United, it was alarm bells. Alarm bells rang around everywhere. Unfortunately, the people who knew did protest, but I was just a kid, but I think anyone around that time, there was not many people who actually could have said there's a problem here, guys. We need to stop this. This is not good for United. Big up Travis in the latest on. Yes, Abraham, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. The Glazers are like Gordon Gekko. Greed is good. Yeah, they are. Helge, hope you're doing well, bro. Hope you're doing fine. Nice to be back. A few days gone. How are you? You're a magnificent guy, mate. All good, and I'm glad to hear from you, and hope you're doing well. And we've kind of spiraled into this conversation about ownership, and the reason why we've spiraled into this conversation is because there is a protest planned by the 1958 before the game against Fulham. Will it make a difference? Will it not? At least they're still trying to argue the point. And I'm saying that, look, we still have to accept that, like Stephanie said, which was a great point, which was, look, they are anchoring us down. They're not letting us move forward. The ownership is a problem for us because every time we take one step forward, we end up having to come back 2 steps because the ownership do not let us move forward. Our ownership is complete opposite of a sugar daddy model and other rivals. We know who they are. No investment from our owners, just using and abusing our money. Yeah, look, that's unfortunately it. That's a problem. We're up against clubs that have got sugar daddies left, right and centre. The ones who will throw in millions of pounds to help world-class managers out like Pep Guardiola, right? The Man City fans are there saying Pep Guardiola's top manager, he's better than Sir Alex Ferguson, blah, blah, blah. No, he's not. The amount of money that's being thrown at him, every time he has a complaint, he gets money thrown in and they go and buy players. We haven't seen Kuna play left wing in a 4-2-3-1. He Cook and Dogu after 2 months won't get his spot. Okay, so Sandil's agreeing with I can't remember who it was, but yeah, Sandil, I hope that's the case. Let's wait and see. If he can cook and he can do without the pace, I'll be more than happy. Because we need to make sure we get a decent run in and actually win the games that we are doing, right? Anyway, let me see what everyone else is saying. Niche, the reality is that these parasites, they took the dividends while good people lost their jobs. Yeah, that's it. What my argument is this. Jim Ratcliffe came in and he thought immediately, right, I need to cut costs of United. So guess what he does? Rather than looking at the £40 billion of interest that we're paying each year without nothing on the debt, servicing the debt, he looks at cutting lunch money and looks at cutting the charity for the legends of United players. That's crazy stuff. I agree 100%. Doing nothing is better than nothing. One thing that I think is worse than Glynios Club is now Ineos won't spend because they just own 20% and then Glazers haven't never spent their own. We are stuck in a rut of penny pinching. Yeah, it's like who can do the best one? So we've got 2 billionaires pointing at each other saying you spend, and the other one saying no you spend, and the other one saying no you spend, and we've got all of them just looking at each other, waiting for each other to spend. It's like a face-off of who can be the tightest owner. So the Glazers must be loving it. The Glazers must be loving it because they're like, this is brilliant. We finally found somebody who makes us look half decent. Do you get it? It's just crazy, isn't it? How they've done that. How they've done that. Helga spot on. We're death spiral debt. To simplify it, we are top 3 club in the world for revenue, what we earn. At the same time, we can't even loan players in January and sack. Thank you. Really good comment. Well done. Exactly. We are a club that, judged on our revenue, judged on our commercial success, judged on our fan base around the globe, we should not be thinking twice about making a loanee signing in January, right? When we need players. It's not that we don't need midfielders. Absolutely crazy. Ferguson and lunch ladies. Yeah, exactly. We've gone after the lunch ladies. Right. Who's the easiest target? Lunch ladies. Right. Let's get rid of the receptionists and the lunch ladies. They're costing us too much money. Allow the billions of pounds of debt that we're having to service that the Glazers put on there. Now, they're really good people. Did you know the Glazers are really nice people? They're a really nice family. That's what we heard from Jim Ratcliffe. Travis, I really hope we don't get Champions League next season. Oh, come on, man. You can't say that. You can't say that. We've got to get Champions League, man. We've got to get... I know what you're saying. You're saying to help the help Glazers leave. But they're not leaving, man. They're not leaving. They're going to stay until they've got zero money. I even doubt that even if we get relegated, they would leave. They would still stick on something, and they'll keep on as long as they're making some kind of money. I just want to see Kuna on the left wing and Dogu left back and Shaw bench and Mazraoui right back and Dalot bench and Lacey come in for Ahmad. Where is Lacey? Lacey's essentially gone off the bench, man. I did mention early on in the show that I think Lacey might get an opportunity now, given the injury. I think he might be brought back to the subs bench. That we earn third most of the football clubs on the planet. Everton relegation teams in the Premier League are the way more active and spendable in transfer windows. It's criminal. Yeah. It is. We're spending less than some clubs that simply are not even in the same category, not in the same group as us. It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I want to say thank you to everybody who's jumped on. It's been a busy chat this morning. Everyone's lively today, man. Everyone's lively. Everyone's had their say, and I love it. That's the way I love these streams, because it's all about... I only do live streams just to kind of have some interaction with everybody. So I want to say huge thank you to Nish, of course, Helga, Abraham, Sandil, Stephanie, Marta, Jim. Who else was it? Who else has been chatting on the chat? Mr. Kiss, My Kiss, or whatever. Thank you. Even though you unsubscribed, I thought that was a bit deep, man. You're taking life too seriously, mate. Seriously, take a chill pill, relax, enjoy your day. You don't need to start getting upset about things. Jim and everybody else, I want to say a huge thank you, Marta as well. Everybody, thanks for joining, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Take care. Goodbye.